Khan Younis is once again the target of relentless Israeli artillery shelling. The city and its surrounding areas have been repeatedly struck. Nearly 24,000 Palestinians have now been killed since Israel's war began. More than 10,000 of them are children. Let's get the latest from Hani Mahmoud, who's live from Rafah in southern Gaza. So, Hani, some fierce gun battles in Khan Younis overnight. Bring us up to speed with what's been happening.
Yes, well, so far in Khan Younis, people are not only have been displaced for the past few weeks and since the beginning of the war, but now they are getting killed inside their tent, Al-Mawasi, a western side of Khan Younis city. Just a little bit of context here. Just Al-Mawasi is an area at the western part of the Gaza Strip. Stretches from the city of Deir al-Balah, passing through Khan Younis all the way to Rafah city and ends at the Egypt-Gaza border. But this particular area that has been designated largely by the Israeli military since the first week of the war, when it ordered mainly all the residents from the northern part and the central part of Gaza to evacuate to, because it's a safe area. What we saw last night is the third time in a row where people are attacked in this evacuation zone, but namely Al-Mawasi. But this time, not a residential home, it's a tent that came under an airstrike by a drone. A drone fired a missile at this tent and killed 3 people inside and injuring the remaining family members. It's a displaced family who evacuated all the way from Gaza City, from the Shijaiya neighborhood, all the way to Al-Mawasi, sheltering in that. Overnight airstrike continued to pound the entire Khan Younis city in what seems to be a coverage, an aerial coverage for the invading forces to push deeper into the central part of Khan Younis. Large number of people have been killed. So far, we're getting confirmation of 33 people have been killed overnight, the vast majority in Khan Younis central area and Gaza City.
So the eastern part and southern parts of Khan Younis have been the focus of fighting, with 33 killed overnight. But we're also hearing, Hani, that more and more people are fleeing the center of the Gaza Strip, Deir al-Balah. I know that internet and call services have been down, but what do you know is happening in that particular area of Deir al-Balah?
Yes. While there is a large invading force inside Khan Younis operating under heavy coverage of aerial bombardment, the central area of the Gaza Strip has been a site of major relentless airstrikes, with the smaller number of tanks and armored vehicles on the ground. It's been the operations in the central part, and the major number of attacks happened by air and by the artillery shelling at the eastern part, mainly the refugee camps and Nusayrat, Al-Mughazi, Al-Burayj, where large number of people have been killed so far within the past weeks. But in overnight attacks, renewed artillery shelling and massive airstrike, destroying more residential homes. And this is what we have been hearing within the past few days from our source on the ground, an eyewitness who managed to get to Rafah city. What the Israeli military doing through these relentless airstrikes are destroying residential homes on major roads leading to the entrance of the refugee camps and Zawaida and Deir al-Balah city, blocking the entire roads, and then moving the bulldozer and open a new route for the armored vehicles and the tanks to push deeper into the central part. Now, the intensity of the airstrike has left the entire healthcare system inside the central area in a bad shape. We're talking about one only remaining semi-functioning health facility, Al-Aqsa Hospital. Not only we've seen international medical staff leaving the area, evacuating, as becoming increasingly risky and dangerous, but now it's running out of fuel, risking the lives of hundreds of injuries, as well as patients with the chronic and threatening life conditions inside the hospital, threatening their lives and threatening them of dying as extreme shortage of supplies. In just one day after 100 days of ongoing war, people are very frustrated. They feel forgotten. They feel largely unsafe. And this is what they had to say about what's going on safe so far in the area.
Muhammad Abu Awida is walking through the remains of what was once his home. Each step is a search for closure. He seeks a glimmer of his 3 children killed in Israeli airstrikes who are still buried under the rubble.
I come here every day. We still have 3 children remaining under the rubble, Omar, Abdullah and Masa, and hope one can pull out their bodies or take a last look at their remains. But thank God, this is our fate, and we pray to God that we will be able to pull them out and see them.
The Palestinian Civil Defense says it has no resources to dig through the rubble and retrieve the bodies. Israel's war on Gaza has left its marks across the Strip. Al-Bureij refugee camp in central Gaza was home to 46,000 Palestinians who were already displaced before the war. Now, entire neighborhoods are destroyed. After 100 days of war, most of Gaza is in ruin. According to the United Nations, Israel's bombardment has triggered the largest displacement of Palestinians since a Nakba, or catastrophe, in 1948. People fleeing their homes have nowhere safe to go.
There is not a day that we do not move from place to place, from Deir al-Balah to Khan Younis to Rafah. There are no goods, and there are no basic things needed for life. There is no life.
We wish to have better life conditions. We cannot find clean water or other necessities of life. This is utter humiliation, wherever you may turn your face. Children are the most impacted, and we adults are helpless. We cannot help our children or even meet their basic needs.
As the war drags on, it's taken away their hope for an end to this suffering. People in Gaza feel forgotten and unsafe. They believe Israel's goal is to completely remove Palestinians from their land. The war that's been going on for 100 days has left many feeling like it will never end. Hani Mahmoud, Al Jazeera, Rafah, southern Gaza.